afternoon. I'm Debbie Reynolds, and I want to talk with you for just a few minutes today about one of the most important topics in network marketing, and that is prospecting. Now, that's also one of those topics where people sort of cringe a little bit when you get on it. Most people are a little bit fearful of prospecting, so it's very important that we cover this topic thoroughly. So this will be a little bit of a longer video than usual, but we'll break it up so that we're looking at the components as we go through so that it will help you truly understand the process. One of the first things that you need to know when we talk about prospecting and before we ever really get into the heart of that is that every successful company has to move product. It does not make any difference if it's a traditional company, if it's a direct sales company, network marketing company, it doesn't matter. But unless product is moved, the company is not legitimate. So that's your number one goal when you get into a network marketing company. Now, you come into the company, and if you are like most people, then you sit there and say, what do I do? If you've never been in network marketing before, then it truly can be very puzzling. And I know I was that way. I even had a sales background, but I still found myself sitting there saying, what do I do? And I'm sure that's the same question that you have today. Well, there are a couple of different choices. First of all, you can look at it and understand, okay, I'm going to have to go out and talk to people. I've got to prospect, so to speak. I don't think I can do that. I just don't want to. That's not me. I don't want to approach friends. I don't want to talk to anybody else. That's not me. Okay, so you can, in that case, quit before you ever really get started. Most companies do have a 3 or 5 day rescission period. Double check on that, and if you think that you signed up just in the heat of the moment because everybody in the room was so excited or your friend was so excited when they talked to you about the business, but you've had second thoughts since then do everybody a favor and just go ahead and quit, because if you do not plan to do it, then you're just going to be excess baggage for the person who signed you up. So if you want to quit, don't feel badly about it. Just say, this is not for me, walk away. Now, for the rest of you out there who do want to make this business work, then you're probably going to have to learn a new skill set. If you are a seasoned salesperson, you especially have to learn a new skill set, because there are some skills that are very unique to prospecting in the network marketing or home business industry. Before we get entrenched in all of that, I want to cover something else with you, and that's 2 primary principles or concepts that are very important for you to nail down before you even go out to start your prospecting. Why are you doing this business? What drives you to do this business? Now, I'm not talking about, oh, I want to sell vitamins, or I want to sell weight loss products. I'm not talking about those types of things, because probably no one out there grew up thinking that they wanted to sell vitamins or weight loss products or lotions or potions or pills or anything else when they grew up. That was probably not your goal. What I'm talking about is what's driving you on the inside. Is it your need for additional income? Is it because you want to stay home with your children and be able to quit your job? Is it that you want more money for retirement? Do you want additional money where you can take lavish trips and go have lots of fun with it? I don't know what your why is, but if you don't know that already, then it's important for you to sit down and reflect, examine yourself and figure that out. I know my why, but I don't know yours. I don't have to know yours, but you have to know yours. You need to have that clearly defined, because that's what will continue to drive you when you have the down moments, those times when you just feel like giving up. You've got to have that why anchored so deeply inside you that it motivates you and encourages you to keep on going even when you don't feel like it. Okay, the second principle or concept that's important for you to understand before you ever start your prospecting is that people don't want to be sold. They want to be told. Think about going out and telling your friends about a new restaurant that you've eaten at, a movie that you've just gone to see. Maybe it's a new store where you've shopped and you're excited about it, you like it. Well, you simply go and tell them about these things. You know, you don't run up and try to force them to go eat there right that minute, or force them to go shop there that day, or force them to go see the movie. You tell them, and then you let them make their own decision as to whether or not they want to take your recommendation and go. That's what we want to do in our field, in our industry also. As we say, you don't want to just show up and throw up. You need to take a very soft and systematic approach to the people that you're going after. See, network marketing always has been about relationships. And in the past, we've typically contacted people who we had personal relationships with. Well, now the field extends way beyond that into social media relationships. You may have friends on Facebook. You may have friends that you tweet with. It's very important for you to approach those people in a very soft and systematic way too. As I've said in the blog, do you really think that people want to hear all about your business in some hard and pounding way when you don't even know whether or not they have kids? When you don't know the name of their dog? Why do you think these people would want to know all about what you're building and would want to jump on board with you in anything when you know nothing about them? So, building the relationships in the social media or online is very important in network marketing industry. We're also going to take the personal relationships that you have in life. It's your relatives, your friends, your coworkers, the people you come in contact with. We're also going to talk about how to approach them when you're prospecting and building a business. But in this day and age, then it's both those very personal and close relationships we have, and also your relationships through the social media that will help you build a gigantic team. Okay, now that you understand that we're going to use a soft and systematic approach, then here's what you want to do in order to start the specific task of prospecting. Number one is you want to build a list. You want to sit down and make a list of everybody you know. Now, some of you might sit down and make a list of 5 or 10 people. That's not everybody you know. You know CPAs, you know hairdressers, you have neighbors, you've got coworkers, you've got relatives, you've got friends of friends who you may socialize with, you've got people at church who you know, you've got all kinds of people you can add to the list. The important thing is just to sit down and make the list without thinking about it. Because if you start to think about it, then you'll do what every one of us do. We'll start to prejudge. We'll say, no, I don't think she'd want to do this. Nah, I don't think so, because they probably already have plenty of money. Or they don't want to do this because, I don't know, they just don't seem like the type. You start to make opinions, or start to form opinions about whether or not someone else will want to do this business when you really don't know. As we talked about the why a few minutes ago, you don't know what their why might be. People all around us now are hurting in ways like we have never seen before, with the economy being what it is. And it's just absolutely mind-boggling to me at the people that we've approached, and I've been stunned that they would open up and talk about the financial difficulties they're having, because from all outward appearances, everything in their lives are great. So do not prejudge. Sit down and just start making your list. I use an application on my iPad called Things. You can certainly use the same type of thing, or you can just sit down with a notebook and make your list. Just 1, 2, 3, 4 on a couple of hundred people that you might put on the list. And know that it's going to be a very fluid, a very dynamic list. You're going to always be adding and taking names off. Keep that list somewhere readily available so that you can add names as you think of people. You may meet somebody new and get back home and realize that's a person you want to put on your list. If you need to, just write it on a scrap piece of paper and shove it in your pocket or down in your purse, and to remind yourself to put that person's name on the list when you get back home. At any rate, the point is you're going to always be adding to this list. What you want to do from that point is to start moving through that list as quickly as you can. Massive action creates massive results. So the quicker that you can get through that list, the easier it's going to be. As they say in this industry, it's a lot easier to go fast than it is to go slow. And oh my gosh, guys, that is so completely true, because once you get in the groove and your mind's there, it's a lot easier to just start clicking and going down through the list than it is to drag it out and contact one person every now and then. That's slow going, and it doesn't keep you motivated and pumped up and excited about what's going on. Step 2, after you have that list made, is you're going to start contacting people. And the whole phase of contacting is that what you truly want to do is, in that phase, is to contact people and get them to your presentation. Now, it's very important for you to use a system, okay? This is not the show up and throw up kind of thing that we talked about a minute ago. You know, if you call me on the phone and you say, "Hey, Debbie, what are you up to?" "Oh, not much, just watching the news or something." And you say, "Hey, well, I got a new business I want to tell you about. You know, I got in this thing now and I'm selling vitamins, and you know, you can get people in and you can make this kind of money, and if you do this and this and this and this," you know what? You have lost me after about 3 seconds into it. So I don't care how good of a salesperson you are, you need to use the system. And if you're a good salesperson, you really need to use the system more than anybody else, because backgrounds in sales can sometimes be a little bit confusing. Salespeople have a tendency to want to talk, explain, convince. That's not what we're doing. We are sorting through people. We're contacting them, we're asking them to look at a presentation, and sorting through the people on that list to see who wants to join us and who doesn't. Now, it's as simple as this too. People don't want to be forced into anything, like we've said before. So it doesn't matter if you're talking about a movie, a restaurant, clothes, no matter what. People just like to hear. They just want to hear in a very soft approach that here's something you found you like, okay? So we're not going to go in forcing anybody to look at our business, because that's just not how it's done. That turns more people off and offends more people than it will ever bring into your business. So here's the type of approach that you're going to want to use, because you want it to be tailored to what you know about that person. That's why it's important, when we talked about it a few minutes ago, that you have relationships with people, whether they're personal or social media type relationships. That's why it's important to know something about that person. So here's an example. Say I go up to Jane. Maybe I run into her in the grocery store and I say, "Jane, you know, you've expressed to me before that you're very worried about being laid off at your job, that things aren't so great with your boss. You know what? I found something that I think could be an answer for you. Take a look at this, and I want to give you a call tomorrow night and see what you think." And I hand Jane my business card that has my website on it. Then I simply say, "Thanks, I'll talk to you tomorrow night," and I'll walk away. My goal is not to tell Jane about it. I don't want to waste her time. If she says, "What is this?" then I say, "You know what, it's hard for me to explain. Just look at the website. That'll be a whole lot easier, and then I'll call you back and we can talk a little bit more about it after that." So I'm going to walk away from the grocery store. I'm getting my car and I'm going on home. The next night I follow up with Jane. I say, "Jane, have you taken a look at the video or at the video on my website yet?" And she might say, "You know, no, I haven't had a chance to do that. I've been busy." I say, "I tell you what, I'm really excited for you to take a look at it. I know you're busy. I'll call you back tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. That should give you plenty of time to look at it, because it's only a 10-minute presentation." Okay, if I tell Jane that, then in a very business-like fashion, I'm going to call Jane back the next night at 8 o'clock, because that's what I said I would do. And I'm going to follow up with Jane and say, "Jane, have you had a chance to look at the video yet?" She'll say, "Yeah, you know what, I did." Say, "Well, I think that it's a great way for you to be able to give yourself some security, given everything that's going on with your job right now. What do you think?" And then I have to shut up. I've got to zip it up and let Jane answer, because you know what? Jane's either going to come back to me and say, "Yes, I think it's great. I want to know more." Or she's going to say, "Well, I don't know. I'm not sure about this. I've got some questions. I don't really understand." In that case, I want to answer her questions, or use that as an opportunity to get my sponsor or somebody else I have a relationship with who knows a lot about the company, maybe can answer her questions. I want to get them on a 3-way call with Jane to answer those questions. Or if Jane simply says, "No, this is not for me," then I say, "Okay, well, if you change your mind later or decide you want to hear more about it at some other point in time, then, that's fine. Just let me know. Hey, we're still going to be friends no matter. So it does not make any difference to me one way or the other." And then just leave it alone, guys. Jane doesn't need to be badgered. Jane doesn't need a sermon, and Jane doesn't need a sales pitch. She doesn't need to know what I'm going to do or how grand I think I'm going to do it. Okay? What Jane needs to know is that that's all right. You're not going to harass her, and leave the door open for Jane to call you back if she thinks about it and decides later that it's something she might want to pursue. I would suggest not following up with people any more than 3 times. If you call them that 3rd time and they say, I still haven't looked at it, I haven't had time, whatever excuses, you'll hear every one of them in this industry, I can promise you. It's probably not anything that we have not all heard at some point in time. So that's not odd. Nobody's being mean to you personally. It's what we all go through. But after the 3rd time you followed up, just let them go. Just drop it, because it's not worth it. It's just not worth badgering people over. If they don't want to come in and they don't have any more initiative than to sit down and watch a 10-minute presentation online, then do you really think they're going to have initiative to build a business? So, they probably won't. But if, in fact, at some point in time down the road they decide that they want to look at the presentation, that's their decision, that's them doing it, and then they might come into your business and actually do something. Now, if Jane says she doesn't want to do it, then I'm going back to my old trusty list and I'm going to mark her right off of there. If Jane says she does, then obviously I'm going to mark her off of there too, because I'm going to go ahead and put her on my list of new representatives who just joined my team. At any rate, throughout all of this, guys, it is not ever worth destroying your friendships. It's not worth making family members mad at you. It's not worth people turning around and running when they see you coming, because I know people like that. And I do not want to be that person who people say, oh my God, here comes Debbie, and they turn around and run because they think I'm going to try to talk to them about joining my business. That is not what we're all about. We're about building teams, whether it's through the people you come in contact with, or again, through people maybe that you meet on the internet. And it's about building teams of people through that. It's not about coercing, it's not about forcing. It's about getting people with common goals and desires to join your team, people who have a why, who want to come and work with you because they want something more for their lives. So again, step 1 is build a list. Step 2 is contact and get people to watch a presentation. And again, on that presentation, it's the system doing it. It's not you, okay? The system drives it, not the individual. Because you want to make sure everybody on your team has the same opportunity, let's put it that way, that you do. And if you're depending on yourself to talk and tell the story, maybe you can do it, but I promise you 90% of people cannot. So you've got to stick to the system just like everybody else needs to. And if you work people through that system, approach them, get them to watch the presentation or go to a meeting, whatever your business requires or suggests, then you want to follow up with that person, because that is very, very key. The follow-up has to be done in a timely manner. And then you're either going to put that person on your team or you're going to move them off your list. Those are your 4 steps. It's as simple as that. But in the process, you're making friends, you're building your team, and you're making sure that you don't destroy any relationships that you've got. Guys, every day there are people out there, dozens and dozens of people, thousands of people, who are looking for what you've got. So all you have to do is keep going down your list and sorting through the people, and you will find people who are looking for you. Okay, so we've talked through the process of prospecting, but I do want to add a little bit of information for you that might help you, because one of the things you're going to come up against when you get out there is negative people. There are so many negative and cynical people in the world, and I can promise you you're going to stumble across more than one of them in your quest for positive people who want to help you build a team and who want to do something special for their lives. So let me give you a couple of examples or techniques on how to handle people like that. Let's just assume that you've got an old nasty brother-in-law named Bob. And let's say that Bob's been sitting around grumbling for months because he needs extra money, he can't pay his bills, and he can't go on vacation, he can't do whatever he wants to do. So the next time you're at their house, you say, Bob, you know what? I might have found something for you. You've been talking about the fact that you need extra income, and I may have an answer for you. Bob starts in. I don't know. I'm not going to do one of those things. If you're coming to talk to me about one of those home businesses or one of those things that you do now, I'm not going to do that. Just look up at him, stop him mid-sentence and say, you know what, Bob? You're not who I'm looking for. And then just cut it off. You don't need to listen to the rest of his sentence. Do not let Bob beat you up. All that will do is just psychologically damage you, because you don't need to take that abuse from him. He may not like what you're doing. That's okay. You like what you're doing, and that's good enough. Bob doesn't pay your bills. Bob doesn't pay for your trips. Bob does not keep you home from work with your children. Bob doesn't probably do anything for you. So if that's Bob's attitude about it, let Bob sit there, dead broke, with his opinions on something that he knows nothing about. But do not let Bob harm you with his comments. So what that's called is saying no first. And guys, there is something about being rejected that does not feel good. One time my husband and I actually role played in a meeting, and so I was the person who was getting rejected, and I almost kind of looked at him when he said, "Oh no, you're not who I'm looking for." I thought, wait a minute, what do you mean? Of course I am. You know, we were role playing, but it doesn't feel good to be the person who gets rejected. It doesn't feel good for you when someone tells you no, they don't want to be in your business, or when they start all this negativity. But guess what? It feels equally bad to the person you're approaching when you flat out tell them, no, you're not who I'm looking for. That's really your way of saying, I don't need you in my business. I don't need someone like you in the business who's going to be negative. So cut them off. Just cut them off at the pass and turn around and walk away. There's no need to say anything else to the people who respond to you in that way. Protect yourself. That's very, very important. The negative people are going to always be out there, and there's probably more negative people going around right now because of things that are going on in the economy. There seems to be an abundance of them, but you know what? You're one of the positive people, and that's why you're in this business. You've got something special that you want to do for your family, and the person you're looking for is the person who wants to join you and do something special also. So when you come up against all the negativity, guys, don't be discouraged, don't be deterred. Tell them no first. Tell them that they're not who you're looking for. Walk away and let that be the end of it. If they want to approach you later, great. Then you can tell them about it on their terms and in their time. But there's no need in you trying to discuss anything with a person who's got a closed mind, because it truly will not get you anywhere. So I hope that helps, gives you just a little bit of ammunition when you go out there. I don't want any of you guys beaten up so much that you get discouraged. So it helps to arm yourself before you go out and have plenty of tools in your little toolbox available so that you can make the most out of your prospecting experience. Again, you're just looking for people who are looking for you, and there are plenty of them out there. Okay, we've talked through the prospecting experience. We talked just for a couple of minutes about saying no first and dealing with negative people that you may run across. So I want to spend just a second before we close out this series on staying positive. It's very important to make sure that you read your motivational materials, that you keep your why in focus. And guys, that part is so very, very, very important. See, motivation comes from people around you saying things. You know, we can all go to meetings, we can go to Tony Robbins, we can go to read Jim Rohn's material, you can go to whatever you want to and get maybe it's even a meeting about that your company has, and you can be all hyped up and all excited and fired up and everything, and then you come back home and you say, all right, well, what, so I'm back home, I'm not around that energetic crowd. That's where your why comes in. Okay, motivation comes from the outside, drives you from the outside. Your why is what forces you from the inside out. So the motivational materials are very important, but your why is even more important. So make sure that you focus on that every day, and then surround yourself with as many positive people as you can. There are positive people in this industry like you could not believe, and that's one of the true blessings and benefits of being in a home-based industry, is that the positive people in there are, the percentage of them is far greater than what you're going to find in the workplace or out in the general population. Everybody that you're involved with is somebody who's looking for more. They want to either improve, enhance, or change their lives. Those are positive people. So surround yourself with them. If you go out and you're beaten up a little bit from your experience with a prospect, or if you've been told no several times, then call the person who sponsored you and be renewed and recharged by that person, because sometimes it does take another person to build your belief level back up in what you're doing. We all go through the rejection. We all go through the downtimes. So just because you're around people who typically seem pretty happy and pumped up and everything, that doesn't mean they don't experience their down moments just the same that you are. So use the system, because that's what's going to work best over and over and over and over. You can control the system. You can't control the outcome. That's one of the hardest things there is to learn in this industry and in life in general, is that you can send people to the website, they can see the system, you can send somebody to, you can take them to the meeting, they can see the presentation, but you cannot control whether they say yes or no. So when you use the system, they look at the presentation, the yes or no is up to them, then you move on. That's all you've got to do. You know, guys, there's so many successful people in home businesses, and I'm not sure what you're looking for, but whatever you're looking for in a home business, I know you can find it. We've known too many people over a number of years now who have found and reached all sorts of goals. Some of them have been very small goals, but they've made huge differences in their lives. Other people have had just, gigantic, lofty goals. They've attained those too. Either one is possible in this industry. So it's important for you to stay focused, use the system, and keep going no matter what, because there's only a very, very fine line between the people who are not successful and those who are enormously successful in this industry. So guys, the one thing that I know for certain is this: with a home business, each and every one of you have the opportunity to go out right now for the next 10 years to be the very best ones of your life. So go out and make it happen for you, just as we're making it happen for us, and just like we've seen so many other people make it happen for them. This is not anything rare. It's not anything unique. It's something that each and every one of you can do and accomplish, and I know that you're going to do it.